question.
What is the Ayin?
How about what?
Ayin is not a what. What would you want to know? What is the Ayin? It's Ayin. What would you want to know it? Questions are wonderful, but we have to understand. I said years ago, but but it still applies. Anything that's expressible is not necessarily a question. The question is, and the Gemara says, in the Mishnah it says, Shoyel ki inyan, Shoyel ki inyan. In the Mishnah B'Diyovis, Chacham Shoyel ki inyan. What does that mean? It means that he gets he's into it. He's into the gist, into the message, and Shoyel, he wants to get further into this message. Okay, I'm not I'm just trying to explain this. If you ask, what is the meaning Chacham Yayin towards? What's the significance of this? This would help you to understand what Chochmah is and what the Maimar is talking about. And that's exactly what we were discussing this morning. We're still getting to it. All right. All right, so let's we hadn't had a chance to finish the discussion this morning, so we will finish it now and we'll go on. And we are essentially on the second paragraph on page Chav Hey. To reintroduce this paragraph, Rebbe is essentially capturing in brief in certain central points that we learned in the previous Maimar. And the central point in the previous Maimar is that in Atzilus there are two inyanim. And we discussed Inyan, why all of a sudden they're called inyanim, not things. There are two inyanim. There is the inyan of what's called Gili HaHelam, that reveals that which is contained in the source. And then there is that which is Be'erei Areich, which is not Gili HaHelam, it's not revealing what's contained in the source. It is something in a different category, in a different realm, completely than the source. Something that does not exist essentially in the source. What are these two?
Hello?
Yeah?
Can I ask just a very brief question about that?
You can?
Gili HaHelam is always the Erech?
Gili HaHelam is Be'erach, yeah. That's what Gili HaHelam means.
Okay. Okay.
So, what are these two inyonim in Atzilus? In in what way are these two inyanim represented in Atzilus? It is that in Atzilus there is the oil and there is the keli. As we explained this morning, Atzilus is the first level that can be referred to as a world, because in Atzilus there is oil bikli, oil bikeli. Eventually we'll have a chance to discuss this a little bit more. Just wanted to make this point. In Atzilus there is Eres v'Kelim, and the Oiros are actually representative. The Oiros and the Kelim, these are B'in Arech. And we discussed, this is the important thing, we should always try to focus in what we mean by Oir. And it's not what we mean by Oir. If we would understand Oir correctly, the Oir that we experience, we would see something very a unique quality. What is the unique quality on Oir? It has an enormous effect, and it's an intangible. And as we explained many times, oil is a non-entity on its own. Oil is telling you that there is an etzem over here. Telling you there's a presence of an etzem, like we say, the oil ha-shemesh. The light, the real light of the shemesh is not even from oil, it is from the etzem ha-shemesh. Because the shemesh is the etzem behiri. I'm going fast because we've already discussed it many times. What does it mean? Shemesh is etzem behiri. As we said, to gain a grasp on it. Light to the sun is the same as darkness to us, of the same primary presence. Yes, light is something in Edo. Darkness is part of the same fundamental reality. The world cannot be without darkness. It could be without light. Light to the sun is on the same category, the same level as darkness to us.
Is that still being developed, or that's we meant to glean meaning that light?
Okay.
Sun.
Yeah, it's still being developed. But
Okay.
I just want to. These are stepping stones to focus in and have something to think about. There is no way we can actually identify this principle in Seichel. Api Seichel, light is an error. Api our Seichel. But yet we say that there is such a thing that's called an atzmi. Here again is something which, there's no way for us to grasp onto or to identify it with our seichel, to break it down into details. We have many experiences that we have pointed out that give us a sense, that show us, yes, there is such a thing. It doesn't mean that we understand it, but such a thing exists, even in our own experience. For example, the host and the guest. The host invites the guest. And what is the significance of this invitation? There is no way to capture this. No matter what the host does for the guest, should he leave, the whole thing collapses. Why? The food is still there. Why does it collapse? Because there is something that's called an etzem, an essential reality. We ourselves experience it because of the gift of intelligence. This is not by experiment, this is not by touch, by experimentation. No matter how much one would experiment with this, you will never understand what it is. And yet we all say, someone who lacks that sensitivity lacks a fundamental human reality, human experience. Fundamental. He lacks the basis of intelligence, the basis of the intelligent view of reality. So, there is in Atzilus this two in one, Oyer and Kain. Oyer means the sense of this fundamental reality of Atzilus, of the Etzem of reality. Then there is also the Keli. The Keli is the means by which this reality is translated on the world level, on the Atzilus level. We're in a world, I'll step back for a moment. Let us go back for a moment to the emotion of the host and the guest. It's never going to be exhausted because we're talking about something of fundamental reality. In this emotion, it's a living emotion, something that we all can relate to. The host will accommodate the guest in all kinds of different ways. Can you count the ways that he can accommodate you? If you talk about what the host can provide, there's no limit. Because he's giving him a completely different thing. He's not giving him things. He's giving him a presence of supreme quality that lifts the guest completely out of his own realm, places him in a sense of, no, you are of limitless value to me. That's essentially what it means. So in that, on that level, there are no individual presences. On that level, it is incorrect, and there is Chochmah, and there is Bina, and there is Das, and there is Chesed, there is Buddha. There is a reality itself. Chochmah and Das are all things that contribute to a certain sense, a certain presence. Then there is reality itself.
On which level where the host can
I'm
give?
sorry?
On which level? The level where the host can give anything? Where there's
Yes, the
unlimited
presence, the
presence.
very presence. But then he translates that presence at the level of the guest. So he gives him, he serves him lunch, and he gives him a comfortable seat, and whatever it is, he accommodates him, and gives him a certain sense of well-being, whatever it is that he gives him. That is already at the level of the guest. Translating the host, the spirit of the host, at the guest level.
That's what you meant by Chachma Vida and Das?
Right. So in Atzilus there is the oir, which is say the host itself. But this host is mislabish and kelim. The kelim are presenting this at the level of the world of Atzilus. At the level of a world. World means the word world means that there is a presence. We said many times, world means, Alter Rebbe says, Ober Heiva V'yiyeh. A world means that it was not and it is. Etzem does not have not being and being. In world, there is, world by definition has that quality in it. Since it has a meaning of not being and coming into being, that already means that its being is not of a fundamental reality level, because reality cannot not be. So it has a definition. And it's called Chochmah, Bina, and Das, and Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes. This Chochmah, Bina, and Das, yes, they are at the level of Atzilus, but in them there is the oir from the source, which is higher than Atzilus. Which is the oil, just like in the case of the host. Let's translate it back to the host. The host serves a meal to the guest or a piece of cake to the guest. This piece of cake is much more significant than its taste, than its monetary value. Right? You understand that? The value of this cake and the significance of it, what the guest gets out of this, is that this is a piece of cake that he got from the host. Can you imagine? The host gave me a piece of cake. It's like saying, your neshama gave me this service. Not your goof, not your hand, but your neshama. And yet, that was translated, was put down onto the level of the guest and the level of the world, of the Metzias, and then in Eretz became, Oil became. So, okay, so we said, that's what we said in Atzilus, there are these two inyonim. There's the oil element, which is fully representative of the Etzem or the Etzem or the Kuz. And then there is the Keli that is really brought to be at the world level. Do we understand this? Please, because we understand this? This is similar to saying, I'm sorry I'm going back, because I'd like you to understand, these are very subtle things. This is similar to saying that a table is really rooted in the Etzem HaNefesh of the person, the intelligence of the person. Not the intelligence of the person. The table is then translated in the world in the form of a physical table. This physical table is a piece of wood, has a certain form. This form is representative of the table as it is rooted in the Nefesh world. As we explained, that yes, in the physical world, the table has a very simple functional presence. But to the human being, it is not just a functional. It is representative of his human stature.
It has a function, but it's representative of much more.
It has a function. If taken, the function is only the worldly level, but the human being, the human being imbues it with the spirit, and the spirit is that this is not just convenience, but this is real human spirit. It has to be this way. Like we said, if a human being does not have a spoon, he's like a dog, Lahavi. Not a human being missing a spoon. It's not at his level. It's not in his status. Get the point here. So this is the oil indicator. Yet still it is correct, even though it is, the keli is completely subservient to the oil, but the keli is still a mitzias on the world level. This is the pshat and atzilus, and then as we explained in our human level, we can also demonstrate a similar thing, that there is that which is Gilui Halim, which is part of the Etzem, and then there is also that which is the Mitzias of the world. All right. So the Rebbe's question now is like this: Ach adayin tzorich lahod. What? Okay, I'm inside now, the second paragraph. However, yet still there remains something which needs to be understood. You already, so to speak, explained what Atzilus is and the two inyonim in Atzilus, but we have to understand there's something unclear here. Shaharei, since that, this was the Pasuk says. That Chochmah is found from Ayin. What does this Pasuk mean? It means simply the following. Besides the different, from our perspective, the way we decide, it means simply the following. We have just now identified that a human being senses the significance of this relationship with the host and the guest. And this sense is me'ayin. There is no basis. You can't explain it. How'd you get to this? Can you train anybody to get that sensitivity?
Sorry, can you change To get which sensitivity?
To get that sensitivity that we explained of the host and the guest.
Expose him.
Huh?
Expose him to that reality. No,
Expose him. So then it's Ayin. So because he has it deep down in his nefesh. But you don't know where it's coming from. It's coming from someplace that you can't identify. What kind of cheese is this? As an aside, I just want to interject something which is of paramount importance, especially if you're raising children. Children have to be reprimanded, children have to be directed, have to be taught, but never insulted. Never disrespected. That goes too far into the essence of the person. We want our children to have all the potential sensitivity a human being can have. I said there's all kinds of different ways to things that a father has to do, but it has to be at a certain level. It may not go to the essence of the person.
Rabbi Paltiel,
Sir,
would you maybe move the speaker a little closer to where you are? On the phone, it becomes very faint.
done.
Thank you.
I had to interject this. It came to my mind, and it's an opportune moment to explain certain things. We all know, and I asked this question many times, what's more painful? A smack in the face or an insult? It's an amazing thing. Can you insult a dog? Human being from infancy.
Face is the panemius.
Huh?
Face is the panemius of the person, though. It is an insult to get smacked in the face.
I'm sorry.
It is an insult to get smacked in the face because the face is the panemius of the person.
You know, in halakha there's a difference. If you smack somebody frontally or back. Smacking was frontally, you got angry, you gave him a smack. Back means that you were completely dismissing it. In halakha there's a difference. In terms of payment. Okay, so this chokhmah is Ayin to what? You're perplexed. Where does that come from? It's something that comes up as if from nowhere. Because the source from which it comes is not a metzius. Define, as we said before, light, not define darkness. In our world, define darkness. You can define darkness.
Ayin, the talking about Ayin to Motzei is Ein Arosh.
No. Why do you ask that question?
Because I'm thinking in terms of from where Atzilus comes. Is this the discussion of Chachma Ayin to Motzei is the world of Atzilus?
Yeah.
The host, when he renders to the guest what is his essence. Is this the level of awe of Helam, Gili the Helam, or this is in Arabic?
Well, can he give him something that will stay with him even if the host leaves?
So that would make you think it's more on Helam to Gili.
It's part of the answer. Okay, so the question is we have it on this. This what the Pasuk says, "Chochma me'ayin timotzei," that Chochma is actually representative of the Ayin, something which is undefinable. Mashma, that Pasuk describing Chochma implies the Koya Klos HaChochma, that that description that Chochma, Ayin Timotzei, Chochma is the element of Ayin, and it is found, so to speak, unexpectedly, completely. Koya Klos HaChochma, it refers to the Chochma in general, everything about Chochma, not only the Oyer, Gam Bechinas Ha'Oyer, the Chochma. The Bechina of Oyer the Chochma also is Me'ayin Timotzei, is just like found from nowhere. Shehu B'Bechinas Ein Aroich L'Gabei Oyer Insoif, that this Oyer, the Chochma, does not have a source. Me'ayin Timotzei, which means it is Be'ein Aroich, it is incomparable, it's not in proximity to the Oyer Insoif from which it comes. You can't trace it back to the Oyer Insoif. Ki Erech, in a similar proximity as Yesh L'Gabei Ayin. As Yesh L'Gabei Ayin. Just like a Yesh and Ayin. It's perplexing. Where is this Yesh coming from? The Chochma also is perplexing where it's coming from. And which part of Chochma? Every part of Chochma. The Keli and the Oyer. You may have thought that it means just a keli. This is created at the level of Atzilus. It doesn't have a source above. But the Rebbe says the posel v'achochma b'ayin timotze refers to the chochma in whole. Chochma as a complete presence, which means the oil and the keli.
The Kiddush before is called Gilui HaHelam, so you wouldn't think that it's coming for Ein Aruch.
That's what he's asking.
Yeah.
That's exactly what the question is. How do we say that the oil is Gilui HaHelam, which means it is something which pre-existed the level of Atzilus? It's the same oil that was there before. But the point that refers to both aspects of the chokhmah, the oil and the keli. That which means that the chokhmah, the oil of the chokhmah, from this posel chokhmah yayin timotze, it's implied that the oil of the chokhmah is also bein aroich to the oil the way it is in the source of chokhmah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, just 1 second. Let me finish this line for you. שהוא בבחינת אין ערך לגבי אינסוף כי ערך יש לגבי Ayin, similar to the comparison of Yesh relative to Ayin. And here is a description of the question. But behold, according to what we described before, in Perik Ches, we said, that the kav is actually drawn from the Erisoif that precedes the Simtzum. Which means that since it's Erisoif Smitnei Simtzum, therefore it's bibchinas bligvul. It qualifies as bligvul without a boundary. And for this reason, ha'oires and gamkin b'lima. And the oires also, because the oires come from the kav, the oires are also blima without a what, which means without a presence. Bibchinas pshitus, without any defining quality. And therefore, how does it fit together to come back and say that actually the oires are be'ein aroich? So we plowed and we suffered till here, so we'll suffer a little bit more, and I'll try that you should understand every word over here in this. It's just not a sound. To the extent possible.
Can I ask my question now?
Okay.
Maybe it's out of place, so you can rule it out of order if you wish. So, what is it that is the Gilui min haHelam? It's not. We're saying right now, it's not really the Ur of Chachma Atzilus. So there's something else. Has to be something in there that is not the erech. There's gilim and a helam, right?
Okay, Baruch, yeah, it's premature to ask any. Let me. We are right in the
Okay.
middle. Okay.
I'm fine. I said you could rule me out of order. I don't mind.
I hope that we don't get lost in these subtle terms, but even if we get the sense of it for one moment, it's worth it. The Rebbe says like this: the oiros are from Ayin search lifnei atzimtzum. That's what we said before. That after the tzimtzum, then there was chozer v'heir, that from the oiros lifnei atzimtzum was drawn back into the tzimtzum. But essentially it represents the oiros lifnei atzimtzum. And therefore, since it represents the oiros lifnei atzimtzum, harei hein bibchinas bli gvul. They are in the Bechina Bli Gvul. Again, what is the Bechina Bli Gvul? What is the Bechina Bli Gvul? In our terminology, we use the sun as the demonstration of this inner void. We said like this: the sun rises. Sun is an etzem behidi, whatever that means. When the sun rises, then there is a transformation in its entire environment. Everything becomes like the sun, becomes bright light. When the sun is etzem behidi, everything transformed onto the sun quality. How does this happen? It happens automatically. It does not happen by the sun attending and doing something, like you said, sending energy to hit the object. It happens because of the infinite quality of the sun. Therefore, everything becomes like the sun. This mainly becomes b'chinas bli gvul. There is not an explanation how the sun illuminates the world. It is not a separate step. It's not an action. It is the presence of the sun itself that illuminates the world. A bli gvul quality. And this is the pshat, and this is Ha'oiros hein gamkin b'li ma. The oiros are without a ma, without a definition. B'bchinas pshitus. What pshitus means? Pshitus means simple. What pshitus means? Simple. Simple means that you don't have to. There is no explanation as to how they affect what they affect. Just like we spoke about the host and the guest. How does the host what transpires over there? It's an amazing thing to what extent we are sensitive to something which is so subtle. This is the chokhmah in the nefesh. That's in pure pshitus. There is no activity taking place. This is what the Oiles is bli gvul. This is what the Oiles said. And this is the Oiles in Atzilus. Ve'im kein, and therefore, eich shayach loimer shehem bli erech. This is your question mark. Eich shayach loimer shehem bli erech. How can you then come back and say, oh, that the Oiles are bein arich? The pasuk that says, "Hachochma Ayin Timotzei," seems to be implying that the Oiles are also not comparable to where they're coming from.
Okay, what's the question?
Hey, bein arich, to their source.
Oh, when they're so simple, how could it be said that there's no compare to their source?
No. If they're bli gvul,
Yeah.
bli gvul, pshitus. Pshitus means that they are there because the etzem is there. How can you say that they are bein arich? Yet the pasuk "Hachochma Ayin Timotzei" seems to be implying exactly that.
What? That the Chochmah is no compare to its source?
That's right. My Ayin Timotzei. The Chochmah relative to its source is like yes al gabi Ayin.
You had a similar question in the last mimer.
What?
So a similar question in the last mimer. You can't say that there's or in the etzem.
What?
You can't say that there's or in the etzem.
Right. I mentioned to you that someone who wanted to kind of demonstrate to me the validity of the science and the scientific philosophy, whatever it is, the way they approach knowledge and understanding the world and so forth. He says, you have to ask a question, how do you know? How do you know? In other words, what was the process? To which experience did you get to know this? And my answer was, if you ask the question, how do you know? You must be blind.
Because it's canceling out the pshitus element.
We know not by our experience, no, not by our experimentation or pursuit. We know because the Rebbe made us know. He gave us a faculty called chokhmah, or sight. In order to understand what somebody says, you have to learn the language. In order to see what you see, you have to learn anything. So here we have what's called a klotz kash. We've explained at great length, went through all that effort to explain how the oiles are pshitus, the pshitus. Because the oiles are pshitus, like we said the other day, we said, we see the which is a muscle for Chokhmah on the physical level, we see not because of any experience of sight. We see because we see it from a realistic, from a reality level. The Chokhmah has access to that sense of reality. Read. If that's the case, how can you call it Yesh Me'ayin? Me'ayin to what? If you recall, sure you do. Mentioned many times. I'm jumping ahead a little bit just to give us a little sense of what we're heading. It's a phenomenal thing. Sight is the most simple, most obvious, and relates to the fundamental truth of the world like no other faculty. I'm talking on the physical level. And yet, to close our eyes and not see is the easiest thing. Much easier than to close up any other faculty. You can't even close. Can you close the faculty of touch, of taste, of smell, of hearing? There's no means to do that. And sight will hatchila when you create it in the way that you can close your eyes and not see the world around you. Furthermore, even as you keep your eyes open, there's a sound. The sound comes. You can't turn away from the sound. You can turn away from sight. You're looking there. You can look over there and not see. Excuse me?
You could tap the ears.
Never in the same effect as the same efficiency as in closing the eye.
You could literally hear nothing.
I don't know about that. You can stop it enough that it doesn't disturb you, so you can fall asleep. But the sound is that there is a sound is clearly there. And this stuffing up is using external means, whereas closing your eyes is part of the structure of the eye. It's a completely different thing. All right. This is going to lead us to a very fine and important principle. The important principle, as we will see, and this is what I wanted to demonstrate by the fact that even though sight is such a fundamental reality, nonetheless, it is there only if you are actually opening your eyes and looking. This reality is there if we look at it. If you don't look at it, it's not there. In your vision. Which means that even though it is fundamental reality, it's still something that is being discovered. There's a discovery element in this. When you open your eyes, all of a sudden you see. With closed eyes you don't see. Whereas when you talk about the way it is higher than Chokhmah in the Etzem, there is no discovery element.
So why is it called Gilui Halas?
That's why it's called Gilui Hayam. You can understand what the word Gilui means. All that will, in Mitzvah Hashem, we struggle through. All right, this is it. Well, we're missing one for a minute.